Hello everyone, welcome to today's story. On a stormy night, Tu and her child find shelter in a stranger's house. But can warmth from others truly heal her hidden wounds? Far away, CEO Alex is restless. He leaves behind his business and plunges into the rain, searching endlessly for Tu. But will he reach her in time or lose her forever? And when harsh words from his own family push Tu further away, Alex faces the most painful question of his life. As he sets foot in Cambodia, could this be the last time he ever sees her? Stay with us until the end to uncover the truth behind their choices. And don't forget to subscribe. Help us reach 10,000 followers so we can continue bringing you more dramatic, emotional stories like this one. Rain poured endlessly that evening, blurring the edges of the world into gray shadows. Uncle Adam arrived at Grandma's humble home, his coat damp, his footsteps urgent. Behind him, Tu appeared, her figure trembling under the storm. A small infant cradled tightly against her chest. The child's breath rose like a fragile thread of light, barely resisting the harsh wind. Grandma welcomed them inside. The little house smelled of rice simmering on the stove, its warmth contrasting with the chill outside. She reached out for the baby with hands softened by age, her touch tender, almost sacred, as if holding the child healed a loss she had carried for years. Tu lowered her gaze, murmuring softly, "My name is Tu. You can just call me that." Her words carried both gratitude and hesitation, as though she feared being too heavy a burden. They gathered around the wooden table. Adam, seated across, explained how he had found Tu alone in the rain, with nowhere to go. His eyes, though calm, betrayed a deep concern. Grandma smiled faintly, placing bowls before them, while the lantern light painted their faces with shades of gold and shadow. Tu ate slowly, her thoughts elsewhere. The laughter Adam and Grandma tried to weave into the room was gentle, but behind her silence lay an ocean of memories she could not name. For one fleeting moment, surrounded by food and warmth, she felt sheltered. Yet the storm within her heart remained, as relentless as the rain outside. And in that silence, Adam wondered if kindness alone was enough to ease the burdens she carried. The night deepened, and within the fragile quiet of Grandma's home, a softer rhythm began to unfold. Tu, her clothes still carrying the scent of rain, prepared to bathe. Grandma, with gentle insistence, took the baby into her arms. The child nestled against her chest, calm, as though sensing the heartbeat of someone who had longed for such closeness. In the dim light, Grandma whispered tender words to the infant, her voice trembling with both affection and regret. She spoke of her own son, once a part of her life, now only a wound carved into memory. His mistakes had left her empty. Yet holding this new life, she found a fragile comfort, like sunlight breaking through after decades of cloud. Tu returned, her hair damp, her steps hesitant but lighter. She sat beside Grandma, watching her child in those aged arms. A silence stretched between them, but it was not empty. It was filled with recognition. One woman scarred by the past, another weighed down by the present. Grandma finally murmured, "Life has its cruelties, but also its mercies. Perhaps meeting each other tonight is one of them." Tuna's eyes glistened, though no tears fell. She could not speak, afraid her voice would betray the storm of loneliness she carried. Yet in that moment, the house no longer felt like a stranger's shelter. It felt like a fragile harbor, one where broken souls could rest side by side. Outside, the rain continued to fall, but within these walls, two women, separated by age yet bound by loss, found an unspoken kinship. A small spark of warmth against the night. The rain softened into a steady whisper as night embraced the house. Uncle Adam prepared to leave, his presence lingering at the doorway like a shadow unwilling to part. He looked once more at Tu Na, noticing the heaviness in her eyes. It was not just weariness, it was sorrow buried deep, a sorrow he could not name. With a quiet nod to Grandma, he stepped into the darkness, the sound of his footsteps fading into the rain-soaked earth. Inside, silence took root. Tu Na sat near the small bed Grandma had made, her baby resting peacefully in her arms. The child's tiny breaths rose and fell, a rhythm that tethered her to the present, even as her mind wandered. She gazed at the flickering lantern light, its fragile glow trembling with each draft of wind, much like the uncertainty that ruled her life. Grandma moved gently about the room, her presence calm and steady. She offered no questions, only the quiet comfort of someone who understood that some wounds are too raw to be touched. Tu Na felt both grateful and undeserving, two emotions that pressed against each other until her chest ached. When the baby finally drifted to sleep, she laid the child down and pulled the blanket higher. The walls of the house held back the storm, but inside her, another storm refused to rest. Would tomorrow bring safety, or only another road of wandering? As she closed her eyes, she remembered the kindness in Adam's voice, the tenderness in Grandma's touch. Yet even with such warmth, an emptiness lingered, a space only she could confront in the quiet hours of the night. Dawn crept into Alex's house, but he had not slept. For 2 nights, Tu Na and her child had vanished, leaving him restless and hollow. His desk was littered with unfinished reports, but none of them mattered. He picked up the phone, his voice hoarse as he called Johnny. "Today we must find her," he said, each word carrying both command and plea. Yet work pressed against him like an unyielding tide. The wood factory still demanded his presence. Shipments needed to be managed, workers directed. Alex leaned back in his chair, eyes heavy, before calling Huang. He entrusted him with the operations, his tone firm but weary. A second call to Ms. Trung followed, asking her to support Huang at the factory. Only then did he allow himself to breathe, though his chest still felt burdened. The morning light revealed his exhaustion, dark circles under his eyes, his body weakened by worry. He stood by the window, watching the drizzle fall over the fields, wondering where Tu Na had sought refuge. His thoughts spiraled. Was she safe? Had she eaten? Did she still believe in him? Or had his world failed her entirely? The rain outside mirrored the storm within. Alex pressed his palms against the glass, as if willing it to reveal her silhouette. Love was no longer a gentle desire. It had become a responsibility heavier than any business contract, more urgent than any profit. In his silence, he promised himself one thing. He would not stop searching. For Tu Na, for the child, for the bond that tied them together, even if it meant abandoning everything else. The morning meal lay untouched before Alex. His sister sat across from him, her expression calm, yet weighted with something unspoken. Finally, she broke the silence, her voice deliberate. "I went to see Tu Na at the farm," she confessed. "I told her it wouldn't work between you two. She's a single mother, Alex. Our family. It will never accept her." For a moment, Alex froze, the words striking sharper than the rain outside. His fork trembled in his hand. "You said that to her?" His voice was low, edged with disbelief. His sister's eyes wavered, but she continued, "I only wanted what's best for you. You're a director, respected, with a family that expects more." He slammed the fork down, his anger restrained yet undeniable. "I am not a child," he said, each syllable measured. "I am over 30. I know what I want, and I know who I love. You don't have the right to decide for me." The room fell heavy with silence. Outside, the rain thickened, as though echoing his turmoil. Alex's thoughts churned. Was this the reason Tu Na left? Did those cruel words carve deeper wounds into a heart already bruised by loneliness? He rose from the table, unable to remain still. "If she left because of what you said, I'll regret it for the rest of my life." His sister's lips parted, but no answer came. The distance between them was not just across the table. It was a chasm dug by fear, pride, and love misunderstood. In that moment, Alex realized family could wound as deeply as strangers, and sometimes silence inflicted the harshest scars. The streets were slick with rain, each puddle reflecting a restless sky. Alex pulled his coat tighter, his body already weary, yet his steps pressed forward with determination. Johnny met him at the gate, his face drawn with the same sleepless urgency. "We'll split up," Johnny said, voice steady. "I'll meet the police. You keep searching the places she might have passed." Nodding, Alex set off. Each doorway, each narrow alley became a place of hope and despair. He asked merchants, strangers beneath umbrellas, men closing their shops early to escape the storm. "Have you seen a tall woman carrying a baby?" His voice was both desperate and restrained. Some shook their heads, others offered fragments. Yes, she had passed here yesterday, but no one knew where she had gone. Meanwhile, Johnny sat across from Officer Long in a dim tea house. Rain hammered the roof as he explained Tu Na's disappearance. Long listened carefully, then called his colleague's son, instructing him to widen the search. "We will look," he promised. "But time is running fast." Back on the streets, Alex's shoes grew heavy with water. His hair clung to his forehead, his breath unsteady. Yet his heart beat with a stubborn rhythm. He could not stop. The world blurred into rain, but within that blur was the image of Tu Na, holding her child, walking alone. Every unanswered question deepened his fear. Was she hungry? Was the child safe? Each step carried both agony and resolve. The city was vast, but his love was larger still. And though the rain drowned every sound, Alex's vow remained unbroken. He would not stop until he found her. By the third day, exhaustion clung to Alex like a second skin. The rain had not ceased, and with every passing hour, Tu Na's absence grew heavier in his chest. Johnny urged him to rest, but Alex shook his head. "If I stop now, I may never see her again." His eyes, dim with fatigue, still carried a fierce determination. News reached him of a possible lead across the border, Cambodia. It was faint, uncertain, yet it was all he had. Standing at the threshold of departure, Alex looked back once at the life he was leaving behind. The factory he had entrusted to others, the home now hollow without her presence. Then he stepped forward, his heart pounding with both hope and dread. On the road, raindrops streaked across the glass like veins of sorrow. He pressed his forehead against the window, whispering silently, "Tu Na, where are you?" Memories returned unbidden. Her fragile smile, The way she cradled her child, the softness in her eyes that hid behind layers of pain. Meanwhile, in Grandma's house, Tu Na rose early. She spoke of finding work, her hands trembling as she tucked the blanket around her child. Gratitude lingered on her lips, yet her gaze betrayed unease, as though the world outside the small home still threatened to devour her. At the border, the storm raged on. Alex paused, staring into the unknown ahead. The question weighed on him like thunder suspended in the sky. Is this the last time I will ever see Tuna? The rain swallowed his silence, leaving the answer untold, an echo between longing and fate.
Tử Na cùng con nhỏ lang thang trong cơn mưa, may mắn được bác Adam đưa giúp về nhà bà lão tốt bụng để tá túc. Ở đó họ được chia sẻ bữa cơm, được quan tâm, thấy chút hơi ấm và tình người. Tuy vậy, trong lòng Tử Na vẫn còn nỗi lo, nghĩ đến việc phải sớm đi tìm việc để nuôi con, trong khi Siolet khổ sở vì sự biến mất của cô. Anh vừa gác lại công việc cùng bạn bè và cảnh sát ráo riết tìm kiếm, không quản nắng mưa khi biết chính chị gái mình đã từng buông lời can nhiệt khiến Tử Na tổn thương. Alex càng day dứt, quyết định sang Cambodia để theo dấu vết cuối cùng. Anh tự hỏi liệu đây có phải lần cuối được gặp Tử Na không?